All right. Let me have you look at number 8 then. We have Vayamet Hanavi Kol HaKohanim Haraim Vayashev et Ha'am. Look at Vayamet here. I have a WCI Vav. I have the Yod prefix of the 3MS. And what's left are how many consonantal roots? Just 2. So when you see the 2, write them down in the order that you see them and ask yourself, do I have a hollow verb with those 2 roots? And do I? Yeah, I do. It's mut, which, you know, that's a middle vav verb, which is U class. But what vowel class is the sigol here? That is an I class. So there's a reason for an I class vowel showing up if I normally would expect some sort of a vav, holem vav, or U class vowel. And it may be because it's a stem that takes an I class vowel here. All right. So what am I going to be looking for? Maybe hifil, right? So let's look at our weak verb chart and see if I can find a hifil WCI form that looks like this. So we'll go here. It's nice because mut is one of my forms here. If you look at the imperfect of mut in the Cal, it's yamut, where you see the shurik, and its WCI is vayamot, and it's got the U-class kametz ketuf. But what I have is a sere that has apparently become a segol. Okay, vayakem is what's my paradigm verb. Vayakem, accent on the ya, segol under the first root letter. And that certainly is matching what I've got here, right? Vayamet, just replacing the kof mem with mem tav for mut. Okay? So that is a hifil. Follows my hifil pattern. And that means not to die, which is what the Cal means, but to kill. All right? So my subject is going to be masculine singular because this verb is 3MS. So do I have a masculine singular participant in the sentence? Well, right after the verb, I have hanavi. Is that masculine singular? Yeah, very likely the subject then. The prophet did this. The prophet killed. Kol HaKohanim. What's that? All the priests. Yes. The prophet killed all the priests. And look at what comes after HaKohanim. Haraim. Im. Ha. That looks like an attributive adjective, doesn't it? Noun followed by an adjective. They agree in gender, number, definiteness. So this tells you what kind of the priests. All the wicked priests. Well, what a nice prophet, right? Vayashiv, this is just like Vayamet, the same vowel pointing, just 2 different root letters. Instead of mut, it's shuv. But it's the same parsing, hifil WCI 3MS. And he caused to return. What did he cause to return? Here's my direct object, et ha'am. And he caused the people to return. Meaning, he caused them to return to the Lord. He brought them back from their wicked ways. Okay? Exciting stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you'll read about in the Hebrew Bible. Now listen, children, to a story. The prophet killed the wicked priests. All right. So, there you go. So va'eshavea. Va'eshavea.
He's talking about swearing an oath.
Mm-hmm.
And the verb, so he's talking about swearing an oath, and it should be in a. Oh, I had a question about 9 actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
On your, so I was just wondering. So there's a form like passive, but in your answer, Shavah, I translated it as a passive. It's kind of common.
Mm-hmm.
Translated as a passive here. So I was just wondering. Shaveh. What are the rules for not? I know that nifals don't necessarily always have to be
Right.
passive.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
just kind of forgot what the rules
Yeah.
are for when they're not.
No, that's a good question. So I'm glad you raised it. So it has to do with this is a nifal. In fact, let's just real quickly make sure that we understand the parsing. Okay, so this is a WCI or a vayiktal form, which is always what time frame? Past. Very good. The aleph prefix tells me it's which person, gender, number. That's excellent. Very good. And how did I know this was nifal?
Because of the pointing on the aleph.
Yeah. So we have an I-class vowel, which is characteristic of nifal and kal.
And then you have a class, right?
Yes,
Dogish.
that's right. The dagesh forte and the A-class vowel here. Okay. So if I have i'a'e or e'a'e, then I'm looking at a nifal prefix form. Okay. So very good. So we've got that. Now, the roots are shema. So we didn't number those, but that's it. So the question then becomes, what is the meaning of this verb root? Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I wasn't looking at that very carefully. No. It's like, oh, wait a minute. We just did the alphabet, and here we are messing up our consonants here. So shava, very good. And the question is, those root letters in that sequence in the nifal stem mean what? And as you know, the nifal stem can have the semantics of making a verb passive in meaning if there's a kal form that's active and transitive. Okay? But there are some situations where the nifal stem is used for a verb where it doesn't occur in the kal. And it might then have merely an intransitive meaning, or maybe it'll have a reciprocal kind of nuance, or it may just have a special meaning in that particular stem. If you remember, the verb lacham, lamed chet mem, means in the nifal stem to fight, to do battle. And there's nothing passive about that verbal idea, is there? And in the same way, shava in the nifal just means to swear or to swear an oath, okay? And that's why even though you often associate nifal stem with passivity or reciprocity, it need not necessarily do that. And you won't know it unless you actually look it up in your vocab list or your lexicon and see what are the meanings this verb has in these stems.
Yeah, because I was just a little confused just in translating in general. It was a little awkward.
Right, yeah. So you're going to translate this as, and I swore, not I was sworn. Okay, and I swore. Okay, good. Good question. Thank you. Others?
So how are we translating number 9, the whole sentence?
So how are we translating number 9? Do you want to give us a translation, and we'll tell you whether we agree or not?
Okay, so let's see.
Oh, let's read it out loud together. Ready? Harimothi et yadi lifnei Adonai va'eshavea. Okay. So what's that mean?
I raised my arm or hand before the Lord and swore an oath.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So I have raised my hand before the Lord, and I swore an oath, or I have sworn. Okay? Good. We didn't really talk about this verb here, but it is a hollow verb, isn't it? Okay, so what are my root letters? Resh and mem. And so when I want to think about a possible lexical form, if this is hollow, I got to stick either a shuric or a Keurig yod in the middle, right? That's right. And how do you know it's shuric? Because there's not a ream. Because the lexical form is room, and there's no room for ream. Right. Okay, good. So we know that as a lexical item, we have a match here, but notice it has the Keurig yod in the middle, even though it's a middle vav verb. So that Keurig yod is there because of what? Because it's hifil, and the hey is here because it's hifil as well. Okay, so I've got two clues of its hifilness, its hifality. All right. Right. Okay, and then notice that I get a helping vowel here before the consonantal ending T, which is the 1CS perfect form. Okay, sometimes it's just a holum, sometimes it's spelled fully as a holum vav. Okay, so I could see both of those, but just keeping in mind here that I will frequently see helping vowels from my last consonant to my consonantal ending for the personal inflection. Okay. So it's not harimti, but I get an extra syllable with the vowel. Harimoti. Harimoti. Yes, the accent has moved to this new syllable, and that left what would have been a sere in the hifil perfect to reduce to a shiva. But this being a guttural, it can't take a regular vocal shiva. It has to take the compound shiva. All right, so harimothi, I have lifted up, raised something. Okay, other questions?
And number 1 is shaker deception.
Yes. Shaker, what is the lexical form for shaker? Sheker. Okay, so normally it's a double segel pattern here. Sheker, like melek. Why is it shaker? And why do we sometimes see malik? This is, what's that accent called? Athnak. Think the Aflac commercial. Athnak. Okay, so this is called pausal lengthening. When you have strong disjunctive accents like Athnak and Siluk, you could get a short vowel lengthening here, and Segol is short, Kametz is long. Okay, when I taught you this noun in baby Hebrew, I gave you the little stupid memory device of playing checkers and trying to deceptively beat your opponent, all right? Yes, there's always strategies. Yeah, it's a shocker when I win at checkers. Anyhow, there you go. So any other questions about number 1? We do have a hollow verb over here, don't we? Yeah? So what are my root letters? Yeah, it's Bet and Noon. Good old Bean. Mr. Bean. The Lord of the Bean. By the way, Jade, did you see any Mr. Bean in Cambridge when you were there? Because he's a Cambridge graduate, I understand. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson. V'yirdof? Okay. Well, let's first parse this one, and that'll help us with the next one. So what is being in the Cal? To understand, perceive, discern. Okay, good. I've got this yod prefix. I have a kametz here. Is that kametz there because it's necessarily a hifil imperfect or jussive? No. In hollow verbs, and even in the Cal, I'm going to see a yod with a long A there, okay? Now, what vowel class is this? Sere, Yavein. That is I class. And the question is this I class because it's hifil, or is it I class because it's just is a verb that is middle yod? Okay, it's the second option. Yeah, exactly. So because being is the lexical form, any of my Cal imperfect and jussives and imperatives are going to have I class vowels in them. So If this were a cal imperfect, what would this form look like? Yeah, I'd have the yod with the kametz, but it would be bet kirik yod nun. I'd have the full mater,
If it were a cal imperfect or a hifil?
a cal imperfect or a hifil imperfect. Both of those would be identical.
How they would look identical.
If you're starting with a middle yod verb, the cal and the hifil imperfects will look the same. If you're starting with a middle vav verb, the cal and the hifils will diverge, because in the cal it would be yakum with that shurik, but in the hifil it would be yakim. In other words, all middles go to kirik yod in the hifil, but in the cal they retain their middle mater vowels.
So it could be a hifil right here.
It could technically be a hifil. And what you would have to then figure out is there any grammatical reason to go with a hifil and causative notion here or not? Right? So let's, excuse me, let's think about the fact, though, that I don't have a kirik yod with my nutty prefix, which would have been the cal imperfect here, but I have a sere. So what is that telling me about this form? Yes, it's the cal jussive, not the cal imperfect. So how would I want to translate that if it's a cal? Let the righteous, hatzadik is going to be my subject, discern.
Yes, we let the righteous man or one.
Yep, let the righteous one discern falsehood or deception. In other words, let him understand what it is, what it looks like. V'yirdof. Okay, so what's that? Well, this is a strong verb, thankfully, isn't it? Strong verbs have how many consonants? 3. And I get to see them all, right? And there they are, radaf. With a kirik, which stems have a kirik in the imperfect and jussives and whatnot? There's only 2. The cal and the nifal. Okay? How are the cal and nifal different? One gets a doubling dot and a kametz under it, and one does not. Okay? Which one has just the silent shava after the I-class vowel?
But in this case, since this is a resh, it wouldn't take the 45.
It wouldn't, but it would still take the kametz of the nifal, right?
If it would just not take that, or if it
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. So my dagesh forte would go away, and the kirik would lengthen to a sere to compensate for the loss of dagesh. So it would be yera something. Okay? Now the holam over here is also going against the nifal pointing as well. So everything about this looks non-nifalish. But everything about it looks kalish, doesn't it? Okay?
It's a Kalish verb.
It's a kalish verb. Now, it's very mean because it means to do what? To persecute, or on a positive connotation, to pursue. Okay? And that's the idea here, because emet is the direct object here, and the 3 ms prefix yod is probably going back to the same subject as yavein. Let the righteous discern falsehood or deception and pursue truth. And here I have, is that a vayiktol vav? Is that a WCI vav? No, this is just a simple vav, right? With the prefix form. And so here's what we learned way back in baby Hebrew. When you have a volitional verb first, and then following it, another prefix verb with a simple vav, then this will often, at least in terms of the cash value, indicate the purpose of the preceding verb. Let him discern this so that he may pursue emet, truth. All right?
Is the English name Emmett from this word?
That I don't know. I've seen Emmett, the name Emmett. It's got 2 M's in it, usually, and this only has 1, so it makes me wonder,
Bad
but
at transliterating.
yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, I was bad at it, so I'm sure that
We can universalize that, right?
The name Emmett is German for powerful.
Ah, very good.
so not this.
Well, that's interesting, right? So we could, this is like totally stupid. So I'm not suggesting that we really think this, but we could make up a false narrative. So Germans were about power, and the Hebrews are about truth. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Good. See how fun Hebrew is? Of course, you know, you shouldn't preach that. I mean, those are totally fallacious things to say, but okay. Anybody have any other questions?
Can you just go over real quick, for my sake, how, just one more time, how the pointing would be different if Videodrome was a WCI and not a...
Oh yeah. So if this were a WCI or a Vayiktol, the Vav always has an A-class vowel under it, right? So it would be Va, and then the Yod would have a Dagesh Forte in it. So Va Yerdov. Okay? So we're missing the two diagnostic features.
WCP would have a Shiva underneath.
Yeah, the WCP or the Vukatal form has a Shiva or a Shurik. It's the normal Vav, not the Va Vav, but the V or U, the way it's normally pointed. And then you wouldn't have a prefix form, it would have the perfect form. Without, you know, obviously the perfect conjugation doesn't use prefixes. So it would be something like v'radaf, right? V'radaf. All right.
Number 2, why do we have that comments under the Vav?
Ah, that's a great question. Who knows why there is a kametz under this vav before anus? Yes. What should it have been? Should have been a pathak. And what should have been in the aleph? A doubling dot, because this is a Vayiktol or WCI form, right? But the guttural rejects it, and the preceding short pathak lengthens to a kametz. So anus. What does nous mean? To flee. To flee. Remember, someone wants to come after you with a noose, you flee or escape. That's what that means. So how would we translate anus? I fled. Now look at number 3. I just have nous. Nous. There's no prefixing here. Just nous. So what did we learn? What are the forms of a verb that have no prefixing? So imperatives in what stem? Cal, PL, and pual if we had pual imperatives. And if it's the perfect, what would be the ones that have no prefixes? The cal, PL, and pual as well. Okay, so perfect conjugation and imperatives, only those stems have no prefixing. All the other stems are going to have a prefix of some sort for those forms. Okay, now you learn that for the hollow verbs, in the perfect, the cal perfect anyway, do you ever see the middle mater letter? No. Remember, it's always gone, and all you will see are the A-class vowels, or if it's a stative verb, you'll see the I-class vowel or the U-class vowel, right? Mate, he died. Bosh, he was ashamed. Okay? The other verbs that are, you know, active verbs or dynamic verbs, their cal perfect is always going to have either a kametz or a pathak. So this will be nas. That's he fled. But this is nous. So if this can't be the cal, because the cal looks like that, it's got to be the imperative. I'm sorry, it's not the perfect. It's got to be the imperative. Okay. So this is uninflected on the backside. So which person gender number is that? 2ms. Excellent. So I'm telling a single masculine person thing. What am I saying? Flee, escape. Ki, because. And then Hagiborim, the warriors. Ba'im, the warriors coming. Where's my copula? Yeah, it's null. It's unstated. Okay, but we will supply it in English. Are coming. Now, you are translating this like it's a participle. Is that kosher? It is. It is. But what what stem is this participle in? It's a cow participle. Don't cow participles have holums? Not for hollows. In the hollow verbs, we do not have a holum. Okay? It's always a long A. The 2 root letters with a long A. All right? And then your adjective endings, which is masculine plural. Why is it masculine plural? That's right. Giborim is masculine plural. So ba'im, as a predicate use of the participle, has to match the gender number of ha-giborim. Does it have to match the definiteness if it's a predicate use? No. The attributive participles do that. Okay? And so notice ha-giborim is definite, but ba'im is not. Predicate participles are never articular if they're truly functioning as predicate participles. Okay, good. So the warriors are coming. Acharenu, after us. After acharenu is us. So there's a lot of nu in here, right? Nous and nu. Yeah. That's right, Giborim Ba'im. Anybody else have a question about anything on the homework here? Number 5, yes. Okay, let's read this together. Ready? Gur tagur ba'aretz hahi kol yamei hara'av. All right, so Teo, how did you struggle with the first 2 forms here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do we have 2 forms of this verb here? Okay.
Emphasis on when it's used in conjunction with another verb form of the same
Right.
letters.
Very good. So this is an infinitive absolute of 1 root followed by a finite form of the same root, right? So they're both cal, imperfect, and infinitive absolute. So when you have the same roots, then what's the infinitive absolute doing? It's intensifying or strengthening the main verb in some way. So what is gur? That's our lexical form, gur. To dwell as a sojourner, to lodge. Okay? So if I add them together, it's you will lodge, or you will sojourn, surely, certainly, for real, show enough. Okay? Where? Yes. In the land, hahi. Is it this or that? That. It's the far demonstrative. Remember, this is ze, zot, and plural, ele. Okay? That is who and he, and Haman, Hain, or Hema and Hena. So this is the land, that, which is that land. Kol yamei hara'av, all the days of the famine. Excellent. Notice I've got construct chain here, right? I have a 3-part chain, but this one is plural and masculine, so it goes Canadian. Eh? Yes, Canadian ending. So all of the days of the famine. Very good. Right, exactly. Because there are 2 different forms, so we need 2 different parsings for each one. Okay. Anybody else have a question?